Well, it is Nightcatcher with Ivan Davies. Final Demand and Jody Hennessy ×2 and Ricky Collins. Cherry Frost with Ross McDonald. Good Front and Tony Haig ties Taffy Steve Mahar. Sonny Sean with Wayne Mahar and Eastern Nelly with Rick Armstrong. Here they come. They're off and Cherry Frost wings out on top and on the inside. Nightcatcher's racing a second. Good Front up on the outside is a third. Final Demand has fourth, ×2 racing fifth, then it's ties Taffy. Eastern Nelly on the outside, Sonny Sean trails. On up the backstretch now on way to the quarter, and Cherry Frost leads but two. Nightcatcher closing the gap. Racing a second, it's Cherry Frost by a length now. Nightcatcher is second and Good Front is third. Final Demand is racing fourth, ×2 is fifth. Then on the outside, Eastern Nelly ties Taffy's on the rail, and Sonny Sean is on the move. They were by the quarter, 32 and 4. Around the top turn, Cherry Frost a length and a half now. Then Nightcatcher second but 2.5. Good Front is third. Final Demand is racing fourth, ×2 is fifth. Then it's ties Taffy, Eastern Nelly, and trailing the field, Sonny Sean, and through the stretch they come to the half. Here comes Nightcatcher out from second. Final Demand is out and moving from fourth, but up front, Cherry Frost. Nightcatcher challenging. Now it is Nightcatcher. Cherry Frost is second. Good Front is third. Then Final Demand is fourth. ×2 going up on the inside. Then it's Eastern Nelly. Then ties Taffy, Sonny Sean. The half is in sixth. Now they're by the 5/8 and going to the 3/4, and it's Nightcatcher moving out. Cherry Frost is second. On the outside, Final Demand goes to third in between horses. Going up, Good Front gets to second now. Good Front closing in on the leader. Final Demand is third as they go racing on by the 3/4 pole, and they were by that marker. 1:39 and 1 around the top turn. Nightcatcher for two. Good Front is second. Eastern Nelly now a third. Final Demand is fourth. Coming up in between horses, ×2 on the rail. Cherry Frost lays swing for home. Nightcatcher. Good Front is coming on. It is Nightcatcher on the inside. Now Good Front on the outside. Eastern Nelly, Final Demand. Gonna be tight at the line. Gonna be too tight to call. Nightcatcher and Good. Sandy and Gary Vincent. Golden Fellow Gilberto. Glengall Sterling with Leroy Vincent. General Fast and Steve Mahar. S.F. Barron with Brady Charlton. Miss Jilly Burns with Ivan Davies. Final Demand with Charlie Frost, and A.C.'s Peter with Randy Phillips, and here they come. They're off, and Glengall Sterling has the lead. S.F. Barron charging up on the outside second. Golden Fellows in on the rail and racing third. Miss Jilly Burns. Outside, she's racing on fourth going on. That's A.C.'s Peter tipping out 3 wide and charging on as they race on by the 8th. It's Glengall Sterling, S.F. Barron. Then Miss Jilly Burns now gets to second. S.F. Barron is third. A.C.'s Peter 3 wide. Racing on fourth in between horses. Final Demand is fifth. Then is General Fast. Golden the Fella. Kill Sandy trails the field, and they're 3 wide as they race on by the quarter. They're by the quarter, 33 and 2. Out of the top turn, pacing on top on the outside, Miss Jilly Burns. On the rail, Glengall Sterling again. A.C.'s Peter 3 wide, racing third. S.F. Barron on the rail is fourth. Final Demand in between horses, racing fifth, and now they swing through the stretch and come racing to the half. On the inside, Glengall Sterling. Miss Jilly Burns on the outside gets it O's in front. It's Miss Jilly Burns, Glengall Sterling. They're 3 wide for third. A.C.'s Peter. Final Demand, S.F. Barron. Then General Fast, Golden Fella, kills Sandy. They were by the half in 6 and 4. Round the turn, they drive on to the 5/8 now. Miss Jilly Burns and A.C.'s Peter goes for it. A.C.'s Peter now takes it. Then Miss Jilly Burns is second. Final Demand. Park Betty's driving on third. Glengall Sterling's now fourth. General Fast is fifth. S.F. Barron, Golden Fella. And far back now kills Sandy out of contention as they race on to the 3/4. And they're by that marker now, and A.C.'s Peter is the leader. Miss Jilly Burns up tight second. Final Demand back to second. Miss Jilly Burns on the rail third. General Fast up 3 wide, charging on it. Now they're 3 wide as they swing to the 7/8. Final Demand comes to the top, and AC's Peter on the rail is second. General Fast is third. They swing for home. Final Demand moving up. General Fast up from the outside. SF Baron is coming on, but it's going to be Final Demand, and here they are at the line. Final Demand, General Fast, SF Baron, Golden Fella. Time for the mile, 2:14 and 4. And parading now the winner of our third race, number 7, Final Demand. Bay Pacing Gelding, he's 7 years. He's by Valerian from Myrie, from Fallacy. Owned, trained, and driven by Charlie Ross of St. John. Your winner in 2:14 and 4. And the result of the third race now official. Kells Sandy was 8th. Golden Fellow 4th. Glengall Sterling was 7th. General Fast 2nd. SF Baron was 3rd. Miss Jilly Burns 5th. Final Demand, your race winner, and AC's Peter was 6th. Race times quarter 33 and 2, the half 106 and 4, 3/4 140 and 4, mile 2:14 and 4, Charlie Ross. Snake Charmer, Steve Mahar, Lady D. Marquis, Brady Charlton, J.S. Ridge, Wayne Mahar, Minji Special, Sam Hodgen, Dear Joe, Ivan Davies, Sisby Babe, Ross McDonald. Here they come. They're often from the far outside. Sisby Babe wings for, and she grabs the top, and J.S. Ridge is racing a second. Santa Monica on the rail is racing third. Final Demand has fourth. Lady D. Marquis outside, racing on the fifth, and Snake Charmer, Minji Special, Dear Joe on up the backstretch, racing for the top. It is now J.S. Ridge and Sisby Babe racing a second. Santa Monica has third. Final Demand is a fourth. Snake Charmer's fifth. On the outside, Lady D. Marquis. Minji Special on the outside. Dear Joe trails on the rail as they race into the top turn. The quarter was in 32 and 3. J.S. Ridge cuts it out. Sisby Babe is second. Santa Monica racing third. Final Demand a fourth. They're by the 3/8. Snake Charmer's fifth. Lady D. Marquis parked to sixth. Then Minji Special, Dear Joe, and through the stretch, they come to the half. It is J.S. Ridge and Sisby Babe, and here comes Santa Monica, making a move from a third. Then Final Demand and Lady D. Marquis on the outside. Then it's Snake Charmer, Minji Special, Dear Joe, the half, and 4 and 4. Around the turn, they drive on to the 5/8. J.S. Ridge takes them by that marker. Santa Monica is now second. Sisby Babe is third. Final Demand, Lady D. Marquis. Then Minji Special, Dear Joe. Snake Charmer trailing far back after making a break. They go to the 3/4. They're by it now, and J.S. Ridge is the leader. 1:37 for the 3/4. J.S. Ridge, Santa Monica. Sisby Babe, Lady D. Marquis. Minji Special, 3 wide. Final Demand, Dear Joe. At the 7/8, it's J.S. Ridge. Santa Monica challenging a second. Heading home, J.S. Ridge is on the inside. Santa Monica inching up on the outside. Now they're neck and nose to nose, right to the line. Too tight to call. Minji Special third, Dear Joe fourth. Time for the mile, 2:09. And the result, Davies I Hawk with Brian Moore, Turnpike's Tequila, Wayne Mahar, Final Demand, Charlie Ross. Dainty Dive, Winston Campbell, S.F. Baron, Bertie Charlton, Lee Hike is, Elmore White, Mickey Freeze, Lottie Stokes. Here they come. They're off. Nightcatcher pacing on the top from the far outside. Lee Hike is drives on in between them now. S.F. Baron racing third. Around the turn, Nightcatcher's in top. S.F. Baron's racing second, 3 wide. Lee Hike has a third. The trotter I Hawk on the rail is a fourth. Mickey Freeze outside going on fifth. And Lee Hike goes to second. He goes winging for the top. Nightcatcher steps out. Nightcatcher by 3 parts of a length. Lee Hike is racing second. And they are by the quarter. And SF Baron is racing a third. Mickey Freeze is a fourth. A quarter 34 and 2. Then I Hawk. He is trotting a fifth. Final Demand is on the rail. That's Turnpike's Tequila up on the outside. And Dainty Dive trailing as they come on by the 3/8 pole, and Nightcatcher shows the way. Through the stretch now onto the half. Nightcatcher, Lehigh Giz hangs a second. SF Baron on the rail is third. Mickey Freeze is fourth. Here comes I Hawk trotting up fifth on the outside. Behind him, Turnpike's Tequila, Final Demand, and Dainty Dive as they race on by the half and 4 and 1 around the turn. They drive on to the 5/8, and Nightcatcher is the leader. SF Baron on the rail is second. Lehigh Giz parked to third. Then Mickey Freeze fourth. I Hawk outside is fifth, tipping out 3 wide, and he trots on. I Hawk gets to fourth. He's going on. Getting to a third now as they race on to the 3/4. It is Nightcatcher a length and a half. SF Baron is second. I Hawk on the outside to third. Mickey Freeze on the rail fourth. Turnpike's Tequila fifth. Then Final Demand. Then Lehigh Giz and Dainty Dive to the outside. 3/4, 138. Round the top turn to the 7/8. It is Nightcatcher, SF Baron. I Hawk, Mickey Freeze coming up on the inside. Lee swing for home, and Nightcatcher's leading but 2. SF Baron is racing second. Mickey Freeze driving up a third on the outside. Turnpike's Tequila, I Hawk between them, but it's going to be a Nightcatcher at the line. Nightcatcher, SF Baron, Mickey Freeze, and looks like I Hawk gets fourth. And the time for the mile, 2:10 and 2. Top of the stretch, there's Kelly's Dandy and Gary Vincent. Final Demand with Charlie Ross. Rockville Tom, Brian Moore. Demand Control, Tony Haig. Mickey Freeze, Lonnie Stokes. Mohawk Injun Joe, Doug Balkins. Spring Fiddler, Jody Hennessy. AC's Peter Tom Mason. Here they come. They're off, and Rockville Tom goes to the top. Demand Control on the outside, racing second. Up on the inside, Kelly's a Dandy has third. Spring Fiddler's out racing on the fourth. Final Demand is fifth. Now AC's Peter, and they're fanning out 3 wide, neck and neck for the top as they go by the 8th pole. The leader is Rockville Tom. On the outside, Demand Control is racing a second. Kelly's Dandy moves up, racing now third. Spring Fiddler outside is fourth. AC's Peter outside is fifth, and Final Demand. Mickey Freeze, Mohawk Injun Joe trails. They're by the opening quarter, 31 and 4. Top turn, Rockville Tom. Demand Control hangs a second. Kelly's Dandy is a third. Spring Fiddler outside is fourth. Final Demand on the rail is a fifth. AC's Peter, Mickey Freeze, and the trailer Mohawk Injun Joe, and through the stretch they come. They're racing to the half. In the inside, Rockville Tom up on the outside, parked. It is Demand Control. Then Kelly's Dandy third. Spring Fiddler outside fourth. Then Final Demand, AC's Peter, Mickey Freeze, Mohawk Injun Joe. They were by the half and 5 and 2 and around the turn. They race on to the 5/8. Rockville Tom the leader. Demand Control racing second. That's AC's Peter strong on the outside third. Now second, Wings 4, and it goes for the top. Rockville Tom holds it. AC's Peter challenging second. They're neck and neck. Now AC's Peter gets a nose in front. Rockville Tom is second. Mickey Freeze third. Kelly's Dandy is a fourth. Final Demand, Demand Control, Spring a Fiddler, Mohawk Injun Joe. Around the top turn, Rockville Tom and AC's Peter, 39 and 1 by the 3/4. At the 7/8 are neck and neck for the top. On the inside, Rockville Tom, AC's Peter on the outside. Mickey Freeze joins him. She's a strong third, and Kelly Dandy coming through on the inside. It is AC's Peter and Rockville Tom, neck and neck right to the line. Here they are at the line, Rockville Tom. Back trotting again, he's racing fourth. Port City Elmer his fifth, and Joy down trailing as they race on by the 8th. On off the backstretch now, racing on to the quarter, and pacing out on top at his Final Demand. Then Skadoodle making a move from second, bidding for the top. Traveling Lady has third. I Hawk trots a fourth, and Skadoodle goes to the top now on the outside as they race on by the opening quarter. Hit 35 and 3. Out of the top turn, Skadoodle and Final Demand. Traveling Lady third. I Hawk is fourth. Then Port City Elmer and Joy Down far back as they race on to the 3/8 pole. They're by that marker now and swinging through the stretch, racing on to the half. Pacing out on top and leading by a length. It is Skadoodle up on the inside. Comes Final Demand. Traveling Lady outside. She's racing third. And they race on by the half. Skadoodle, Final Demand, Traveling Lady. I Hawk is fourth. They were by the half at 11-1. Then Joy Down moving to fifth, and Port City Elmer trailing. Around the turn they go to the 5/8, and it's Skadoodle by half a length. Traveling Lady up on the outside, bidding for the top as they race on by the 5/8. Then a Final Demand. I Hawk is fourth. Then we go back 10 lengths to Joy Down, and then Port City Elmer. Neck and neck for the top. Skadoodle the leader on the inside, now a half length. Traveling Lady second, and I Hawk out 3 wide. Trots on strong. He's now racing third. Final Demand is fourth. The 3/4, 1:46-1. Round the top turn, 2 leaders. Neck and neck. Skadoodle on the inside. Traveling Lady coming up on the outside. I Hawk trotting third. Final Demand is fourth. They swing for home now. It is Skadoodle and Traveling Lady and I Hawk on the outside. Final Demand coming up on the inside. Skadoodle is holding Traveling Lady, and here they are at the line. It is Skadoodle, then Traveling Lady, Final Demand. I Hawk gets fourth. The time for the mile, 2:20-1. Cedars Pointer with Gary Vincent, Miss Jilly Burns with Owen Davies, Miss Emily with Brady Charlton, Nippy Namby, Steve Mahar, Lady D. Marquis, Brian Moore, Golden Polo Jill Barrio, Rob and Brett with Stan Nelson, Final Demand with Charlie Ross. Here they come. They're off, and Miss Jilly Burns wings for, and she grabs the top, and Cedars Pointer's racing second on the rail. Miss Emily has third. Now Robin Brett goes to third on the outside. And Miss Jilly Burns is off stride and on the run. And the trailers get by her okay. They're by the 8th, and it is Cedars Pointer. Robin Brett gets to second. Nippy Namby has third. Miss Emily going up on the outside, racing on now, third and going on. Miss Emily gets to second. She's lapped on the leader and bidding for the top. It is Cedars Pointer, the leader, as they go racing out by the quarter. By that marker, 33-2. Swinging into the top turn, Miss Emily is now on top, a length and a half, and Cedars Pointer is second. On the outside, Final Demand is third. Robin Fred is fourth. And they swing by the 3/8 pole now and come on through the stretch, racing to the half. Pacing on top, it is Miss Emily with Final Demand on the outside second. Cedars Pointer facing third. Miss Jilly Burns outside with cover is now fourth again. Robin Brett is fifth. Then it's Nippy Namby, Golden Fellow, Lady D. Marquis trailing. And they were by the half in 6-2. Out of the turn, they drive on to the 5/8, and that's Miss Emily on the run now. Facing it on top now, Final Demand goes to the top on the outside with Cedars Pointer racing second. They're by the 8th pole. On up the backstretch to the 3/4, Final Demand. Miss Jilly Burns gets to second again. She's lapped on the leader and bidding for the top. Cedars Pointer is third. Robin Brett between horses fourth. Outside Miss Emily, 3 wide is fifth. 3/4, 140-1. Then Nippy Namby, Lady D. Marquis, and Golden Bulla around the top turn. Miss Jilly Burns and Final Demand, and Miss Emily's on the run again. At the 7/8, it's Miss Jilly Burns. Final Demand is racing second. Robin Brett has the third. Heading home, Miss Jilly Burns, Final Demand, Nippy Namby working up and coming through on the inside. Lady D. Marquis on the outside. 5 of them at the line, going to be tight. Looks like Miss Jilly Burns too close to call for all the rest. The time for the mile, 2:13-4. Now the result of the 8th race now official. Cedars Pointer was 8th. Miss Jilly Burns finished first, placed 6th for interference in the first turn. Miss Emily was placed 7th. Hippie Namby was placed fourth. Lady D. Marquis finished second, was placed first. Golden Puddle placed fifth. Robin Brent was placed third. Final Demand was placed second. The times, a quarter 33 and 2/5. The half 106 and 2. 3/4 140 and 1. The mile 213 and 4. Feature pace exact of 58, 241.40. And your triactor on a $1 ticket, 587 3000. Lady D. Marquis with Brian Moore. Columbia Luke, Winston Campbell. Lehigh Giz with Elmore White. Spring Fiddler, Steve Mahar. Passy Poil, Doug Balkins. Arbor Coltown, Jody Hennessy. AC's Peter Tom Mason. Final Demand, Charlie Ross. Here they come. They're off. Columbia Luke pacing with the lead, and Lehigh Giz second. AC's petering up on the inside. Lady D. Marquis, they're 4 wide. Into the turn, and Lady D. Marquis. Now Lehigh Giz it now. AC's Peter 3 wide. He's the leader. AC's Peter, Lehigh Giz, and Lady D. Marquis. On up the backstretch now. They drive on to the quarter. AC's Peter leading by 2. Lehigh Giz is second. Arbor Coltown on the outside, driving on the third. Lady D. Marquis has fourth. Final Demand outside is fifth. Then it's Columbia Luke and Spring Fiddler and Passy Poil trails the field as they race on by the quarter, and they were by the marker 32 and 4. Around the top turn, AC's Peter and top a length and a half. Lehigh Giz is second. Arbor Coltown coming up on the outside. He's third. Then Lady D. Marquis, she's fourth on the rail as they swing through the stretch. Here they come. They're racing to the half. AC's Peter, Lehigh Giz. Arbor Coltown hangs third. Lady D. Marquis fourth on the rail. Outside of her, Final Demand. Behind him is Spring Fiddler on the rail. Columbia Luke and Passy Poil trails. They were 5 1/2 and 6 and 3. Racing now to the 5/8. It is AC's Peter by 2 lengths. Lehigh Giz second. Arbor Coltown hanging a third as they go up the backstretch. Then Lady D. Marquis on the rail fourth. Final Demand outside fifth. Then Columbia Luke, Spring Fiddler out 3 wide. Passy Poil trailing the field as they go to the 3/4. And they race out by that marker now. And AC's Peter still the leader. 3/4 39. AC's Peter. Lehigh Giz and Arbor Coltown, they're neck and neck. And Lady D. Marquis on the rail. She is the fourth. Columbia Luke coming through between horses now fifth. They hit the head of the lane and spring for home. It is AC's Peter, Arbor Coltown, and Columbia Luke charging up strong on the outside. AC's Peter. Columbia Luke is coming on at the line. Columbia Luke, AC's Peter, Arbor Coltown, and the Lady D. Marquis gets Final Demand with Charlie Ross, Snake Charmer Steve Mahar, Miss Emily Bertie Charlton, Vestas Vanguard, Lonnie Stokes, Eastern Nellie Rick Armstrong. Here they come. They're off in Rockville. Tom pacing with the lead in on the trail and to on the outside. Vestas Vanguard challenging is second. Eastern Nellie's third on the outside. Final Demand his fourth. Then it's Snake Charmer. Miss Emily trails the field, and they race on by the 8th pole now. Rockville Tom showing the way. He's on top a length and a quarter, and Vestas Vanguard's on the rail and racing second now. Eastern Nellie has a third. Up on the outside, there goes Snake Charmer. Racing on fourth. Final Demand has fifth, and Miss Emily trailing sixth as they race out by the opening quarter, 32 and 2. Swinging into the top turn, Rockville Tom. He's on top a length and a quarter, and Vestas Vanguard is second. Snake Charmer's now third. Eastern Nellie's on the rail fourth. Final Demand makes a move fifth. And behind him comes Miss Emily. And now they're working through the stretch, coming to the half, and it's Rockville Tom a length and a half now. On the outside, Snake Charmer is second. Then Vestas Vanguard on the rail third. Final Demand outside with covers now fourth. Then it's Eastern Nellie and Miss Emily trailing back, pacing after making a break. And they were by the half and 5. Round the turn, they drive on to the 5/8 Rockville Tom. Snake Charmer hanging second. He's lapped down the leader now, and they're by the 5/8. Then Vestas Vanguard's locked in third in the rail. On the outside, Final Demand is fourth. Eastern Nelly's fifth on the rail, and Miss Emily trailing sixth on the outside. Snake Charmer gets ahead in front. He's the leader now as they race on by the three-quarter pole. Snake Charmer by that marker, 1:38 and 2. Top turn, Snake Charmer. Now a length and a half, and Rockville Tom is second. Then the Final Demand on the outside third. Vestas Vanguard racing fourth, and they swing for home. It is Snake Charmer. He's now on top of 2.5. Vestas Vanguard and Final Demand, and on the outside, Eastern Nelly coming on. It's going to be Snake Charmer. Here they are at the line. Snake Charmer, Final Demand, Eastern Nelly gets third. Then Rockville Tom is fourth. And the time for the mile, 2:10 at 1. And with Charlie Frost, Skadoodle and Charlie Price. Arbor Coltown, Jody Hennessy, Columbia Luke, Winston Campbell. Then Tourstown, Brian Moore, Vestas Vanguard, Doug Falcons, Hold the Line, Morris Benson, Mickey Freeze, Lonnie Stokes. Here they come. They're off, and Final Demand is pacing out on top, and from the outside, Tourstown works fourth. Skadoodle's racing third. They swing into the turn, and Final Demand off stride and scattering the field. Final Demand is down, but he's up again. And the trailing horses scattered, but they're all okay. Racing on up the backstretch, driving on to the quarter, and moving to the top now on the outside. Pacing out with the lead, it is Vestas Vanguard. Tourstown racing second. Skadoodle has third. Arbor Coltown is fourth. The opening quarter, 33 and 1. Swinging round the top turn, Vestas Vanguard and Tourstown. Skadoodle is third. Arbor Coltown is fourth. Then it's Hold the Line. Columbia Luke, far back Mickey Freeze. And the Final Demand is out of it as they spring off the top turn now. Drive on through the stretch, and they come racing to the half. Vestas Vanguard in command, has the best of it by 2. Tourstown is second. Here comes Skadoodle. Out from third to rush on. Arbor Coltown moves with cover. Then it's Hold the Line and Columbia Luke, and then Mickey Freeze. They were by the half. 1:06 and 4, and around the turn they race to the 5/8. Pacing out on top, Vestas Vanguard. Skadoodle is strong on the outside. Drives on to second now. On to the three-quarters. Vestas Vanguard, Skadoodle. Then Tourstown on the rail. Arbor Coltown fourth. Hold the Line and Columbia Luke. Mickey Freeze out of contention. They are by the three-quarter pole. They were by that marker. 1:39 and 4. Top turn, Vestas Vanguard. Tourstown moves up on the inside. Back to second. Skadoodle is third. Arbor Coltown swinging out 3 wide is fourth. Then Columbia Luke swinging outside of him. They swing for home. It is